Hi, thank you for joining the Billing Overview Claims Creation, Processing, and Submission webinar. First things first, let's go ahead and do a quick billing overview of your billing portal. Um, Once you have logged into your database and you clicked on Billing on the left lower corner to access your billing portal, you're going to get your billing dashboard. The billing dashboard will be broken down into three sections. You have your today's activities up top, which shows you data for today's data service only based on data grabbed from your schedule, from the billing portal, and also from the EMR. You have your revenue cycle wheel, which essentially is going to show you information on the billing and what's going on, where the claim is at in the process. And you have your key performance indicators at the bottom, which is your, an abbreviation KPI. It essentially allows you to see trends for procedures, charges, and additional things, which we'll go over here shortly. On this billing dashboard, let's go ahead and start with the today's activities up top. Again, the today's activities will show you data for today's data service only. This data is grabbed based on your schedule, on your billing portal, and also some of the EMR portal data as well. On here, you'll be able to see your care team, your new appointments, checked out appointments, eligibility, super bills, collected receipts, claims, applied receipts, patient payments, insurance payments, and total payments. And under each one of these tiles, you're actually going to be able to see, for example, on the care team, my locations number and resource numbers. My new appointments will show me the new appointments versus the total scheduled appointments. The checked out appointments will show me checked out appointments versus scheduled appointments. Eligibility will show me checked eligibilities versus scheduled patients. Super bills created versus total dollar amount charges. Collected receipts will show you created and total collected amount. Claims will show you total created and total dollar amount for charges. Applied receipts will show you total created and total dollar amount applied. Patient payments will show you total procedures and patient total dollar amount of payments. Insurance payments will show you total procedures and total dollar amount. And total payments will show you procedures and total dollar amount. Again, these tiles up top under today's activities are for today's data service only. Below that, on your revenue cycle wheel, it is broken down into 5 different sections. You have your prepare, submit, manage, post, and collect. The prepare section is going to show you all your missing data claims, so claims that are missing either a diagnosis, a responsible party, a guarantor, a primary insurance, procedure, any claim that's missing any type of data in order to process as a clean claim. You have your missing, the missing data is going to show you any claim that's missing data to be processed. You have your missing claims, which is going to show you any claims that are completely missing out of the system. Essentially, this would be a patient that has been checked in or checked out and a claim has not been created. They would then be considered a missing claim. Again, the missing data would be any claim that's missing crucial data to be processed. And here's what some of the data is. Could be additional data beyond this. In this case, in this database, these are the claims that are missing data and what data they're missing. Below that, you have ready for processing, and that will show you any claims that are in one of the ready for processing statuses. And this would be claims that are ready to be processed to a primary, a secondary, a tertiary, or statement itself. Also, to the right of each one of these items for missing claims, missing data, and ready for processing, you will notice that there is a magnifying glass icon that shows up once you hover over. By clicking on that magnifying glass icon, it's actually going to show you all the claims that consist of that missing data. So, for example, if I wanted to see my missing responsible party claims, I can click that magnifying glass, and that's then going to take me into the billing query, showing me all the claims missing that data. Also, at the bottom of this prepare window here, you do have view as count, which essentially allows you to view based on claim count. And if you uncheck it, it's then going to show you based on dollar amount. To the right of that, you also have export to Excel, which allows you to export this data to an Excel sheet. And to the right of that, you have the information, which shows you the last time that this data was acquired. Okay, it also shows you the count and the charge count as well. The next section you have under your revenue cycle wheel here is your submit. The submit is going to show you your pending submission batches, your response submission batches, and your error submission batches. The pending submission batches would be any batch of claims that you created but has not been processed. This can consist of electronic claims, paper claims, or even statement batches. This would be, again, any time you've gone in, you search for the claims, you put them in a batch, but you actually did not send out the batch, it then becomes a pending submission. Below that, the response submission would be any batch of claims that has been responded to. And normally it consists of 837 professional electronic, which would be the response from the clearinghouse. And below that, you have the error submission, and this would be any batch of claims that has fully rejected all the claims in that batch. So if you send out a batch and none of the claims pass validation, it then becomes a error submission there, kind of flagging you to letting you know, hey, there is a batch out there that was fully rejected. You may want to take a look at those claims and get them out the door again. Also on the submit section here, you do also have the magnifying glass next to each one of these items, which you can click on to show you those specific batches. You do have the view as count checkbox, which allows you to view this as dollar amount if unchecked, and if checked, it shows you the total number of claims, or in this case, batches. You also have the export to Excel, which allows you to export this out to an Excel. And you have the information, which will show you the last time that this data was acquired, the count, and the balance. The next section we have here under our revenue cycle wheel is the manage. The manage is going to show you all the claims statuses other than the ready for processing statuses, the closed electronic. So any of the other biller defined statuses that have claims listed will show up under here, such as those rejected claims, the refund here. Then it also gives you a breakdown of the claims that have been in the same status for over 7 days. So no response after 7 days would be any claims that have been in that status for over 7 days. Okay. This is then broken down into sent paper, sent electronic, sent statement, the in-process statuses, step 2 electronic, step 2 statement, and step 2 paper. And again, this would be a claim that's been sitting in that status for over 7 days. Typically, if they were in process and they've been in that status for over 7 days, there is an issue. If they're under sent paper, sent electronic, or sent statement, that's okay for them to be in that status for over 7 days because, again, you're waiting for the response either from the insurance company or the payment back from the patient. Also, on this manage section, you will see that magnifying glass icon next to each one of these options as you hover over them. On the left lower, you do have that view as count checkbox, which by unchecking it shows you the claims balance. Then you have the export to Excel, which allows you to export this out to an Excel sheet. And you have the information button, which will show you the last time this data was acquired, the counts, and the balances. The next option you have on the revenue cycle wheel here is your post. The post is going to show you any patient payments or insurance payments that are ready to be posted. This is broken down into payments and receipts, payments being insurance payments, and receipts being patient payments. As you expend the payments, it's going to then show you payer deposit, ERA deposit, and statement deposit. Essentially, the payer deposit is manual EOB that you entered into the system. The ERA deposit, it's a remittance advice that came directly into the system for you. And the statement deposit is a deposit that you created based on a statement that was sent to a patient. Below that, you have the receipts, which is the receipts, again, essentially are patient payments. You have the associated receipts and the unsubmitted receipts. Unassociated means that the receipt has not yet been added to a batch to be applied to a claim. And the unsubmitted means that those receipts have been tied to a batch already to be associated to a claim. On here, you also see the magnifying glass next to each one of those, the payments and the receipts, which then allows you to view the receipts or the deposits that needs to be posted. This also does give you the view as count checkbox, which by unchecking it will show you total dollar amount of payments to be posted. You also have the export to Excel, which allows you to export this out to an Excel sheet. And you have the information, which will show you the last time this data was acquired and the payment amounts. The last option you have here under the revenue cycle wheel is going to be your collect. The collect allows you to see the aging for insurance and the aging for patient. On here, as you expand either or, it's then going to show you all of the aging buckets for the insurance in this case, my 0 to 30, my 31 to 60, 61 to 90, 91 to 120, and so on. And I can also do the same thing for my patient aging, which will show me all the aging buckets for my patient's outstanding balance. On here, you also note that you do have that magnifying glass option that shows up after hovering over each one of these items. And that will take you to the agent analysis report showing you all the data that consists of that specific row that you're on. Also, you do have the view as count checkbox, which by checking it will show you based on claim count, not total dollar amount. You do also have an export to Excel, which allows you to export this out to an Excel sheet, and the information which shows you the last time that this data was acquired. Below that revenue cycle wheel, we have that key performance indicators. And the key performance indicators, again, is going to show you trends based on the data you select. So if I wanted to see trends for the last 90 days for procedures, I would select procedures. And then that will show me the trend, showing me how many procedures on each one of those days. Also, I can then select location, and that will then add another line for location, and I can compare those two. I can also do that for charges and so on. So you're basically seeing trends for the specific items you're specifying. Now, at the bottom here, it's going to show you a total of 6 different key performance indicators based on your defaults. If you wanted to add additional key performance indicators, or if you wanted to see a larger time frame than the 90-day frame, you can actually click the jump box next to the word key performance indicator. That's going to open that up in a larger view for you. And now you can enter the additional criteria that you want. So on here, you will note that there is different criteria that I can select for the trends. I can also specify a specific time frame to zoom into. And lastly, I can actually specify the date range that I want to see this for. Okay, when you open up the large view, it does default to a 1 year period. However, if you want to expand that to a larger date frame, you can expand that date range as well. Okay. Also, you will note that on the left-hand side here, where we have all the different criteria that I can select to show the line graph for, it does have a star, and some of them have a golden star, and some of them have a black star. The golden star essentially means it's part of your favorites. Any of the golden stars will be listed on your favorites list here under the key performance indicators on the billing dashboard. The black star ones will not be displayed there. So let's say now I wanted to, instead of viewing procedure, I'm more interested in the claim. I can simply click the star, it turns a gold. I can then close out of here, and now once I refresh my billing dashboard, it is going to add the claim instead of procedure to my key performance indicators at the bottom of my billing dashboard. Okay. Again, this can be modified as needed per user. Furthermore, on this billing dashboard, you can actually right-click anywhere within the billing dashboard, and you can go to user settings. This is going to allow you to set your defaults of the billing dashboard per user. So on here, when you first click on it, you're going to see the activity settings, which refers to today's activities. And this is as far as what tiles you want to see up top. So as you uncheck them, those tiles would then be removed from the top there and only showing you the ones that are checked. You can also choose to have that today's activity at the top, bottom, left, right, or hide it all together if you don't want to see that. Below that, you have the key performance indicators, and that's going to show you the date range that it's going to default to. The KPI days here would be the billing dashboard view, and the KPI days expanded will be that expanded view by clicking the jump box. By default, it's 90 and 365. Below that, you have the revenue cycle setting, and that refers to our billing revenue cycle wheel here. This allows you to set the date range for each one of the sections. Okay, and also to default how you want to view it based on total dollar amount or based on claim counts. Below that, you also have an advanced settings, and that would be if you did not want to see that revenue cycle wheel, and you actually wanted to replace that with some data points, you can have the advanced settings, and these are the settings for the advanced settings, and I'll show you what those look like momentarily. Then you have the metric settings, which again replaces that revenue cycle wheel, giving you metric settings for these specific items. And again, I will show you what this looks like momentarily. Once you've made your changes here, you would want to go ahead and click Save to have those changes take effect. Okay, it's going to go ahead and save that, refresh your billing dashboard, and any changes you made would have taken effect at this point. Okay, as far as those advanced settings and the metrics, and it replacing the revenue cycle wheel. So if you actually go to the right upper corner of that revenue cycle wheel, you will note that there's this little icon here that looks like a expand option. When you click on that, it allows you to view it based on revenue cycle, the advanced view, which again is going to show you specific key pointers with a a pie graph here. And then you also have a metrics, which allows you to view specific metrics as far as claims, counts, deposits, aging, based on the specified date range. In this case, for my database, I have no data within that specified date range. Okay, so pretty much think of the advanced and the metrics, a similar concept to that revenue cycle wheel, just laid out differently. So essentially, if I go to claim submission, I still have my pending submissions or my incomplete, which would be my error or waiting response ones. You do also have the unposted deposits, which is your total dollar amount of payments that needs to be posted. And then you have a claim status breakdown as well, which is going to be that managed section along with that prepare section. So pretty much all the data that we saw on this revenue cycle wheel, you are able to see on that advanced. It's just laid out differently. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and jump over to our billing toolbar. So on the left upper corner of your billing dashboard, you have the billing toolbar. It starts with the revenue cycle wheel. A revenue cycle wheel is your billing homepage, and essentially it brings you back to this billing dashboard that you're currently on. So if you happen to be on a different window within the billing portal, you click on that, it brings you right back to this window on your billing dashboard. To the right of that, you have the refresh button, and that allows you to refresh the window you're currently on. To the right of that, you have the index card, and by clicking the drop down, you're going to go ahead and get a set of patient options, which you'll be able to utilize once you have a patient or a claim selected. To the right of that, you have your search setup options, which allows you to search for a patient, a payer, a code/fee, location, or provider. You can also update any of the following or add any of the following. So if I need to add a new insurance to my database, I can go to payer. That opens up my payer setup, and I can make the addition of the payer by clicking new payer at the bottom here. All right. To the right of that setup options icon, you have this multiple red windows, which is your open reporting windows. By clicking the drop down here, you'll get a set of reports you can run within the billing portal. To the right of that, you have your history button, which allows you to view the history for the window you're currently in. In this case, the billing dashboard does not have a history, and thus the reason it is grayed out. To the right of that, you have the hammer with the wrench, which allows you to set your working date. And this is based on the data you're going to see on today's activity here. You have your sliding fee schedule, which allows you to set up a sliding scale if you partake on the government poverty guideline. And you have your refund maintenance, which allows you to do the correction of an error credit. So if you have a claim that has a credit and you need to remove that credit, you can do that refund maintenance. To the right of that, you have your hyperlink icons, which gives you a quick hyperlink to the billing analytics. And this is an additional feature that, if enabled in your database, allows you to generate reports within an Excel sheet. Below that, you have the clearinghouse payers, which allows you to create, allows you to look up payer IDs for new payers you're creating. Below that, you have the ICD-10 lookup, which allows you to look up diagnosis codes. Below that, you have the NPI lookup, which will allow you to look up the NPI for your providers. Below that, to the right of that, you have the help option, which is going to give you a quick overview guide on this billing dashboard so that you can see its features and how to modify your defaults as well. All the way to the right-hand side of our billing toolbar, you have your pending items. This consists of submissions, ERA deposits, payer deposits, and receipts. Your pending submissions is going to show you any batch of claims you've created but has not been processed. This can consist of electronic claims, paper claims, or statements. To the right of that, you have your ERA deposits, and that will show you any ERA that has been received but has not been posted. This is how you would know if you received a new ERA in your database. To the right of that, you have your payer deposit, which will show you any manual entry of a deposit that has been entered in your database but has not been posted. And lastly, you have your pending receipts, which will show you any batch of receipts that has been created but has not been dispersed. In other words, you have not concluded applying the payments to the actual claims. To the right of that, you do have this gear icon, which by clicking on it allows you to go into the user setup for your billing dashboard here, view the aging status, or do the aging recalculation, which will basically have the system reacquire the numbers here for the revenue cycle wheel. On the left-hand side on your navigation pane, in the middle section here, you have the different windows you can access within the billing portal. These are broken down into categories. You have your insurance, your patient, your payment posting, and your reporting. Under each one of these, you have different windows you can access within the billing portal. Now, under your user, you may note that some of these may be grayed out. Do not be alarmed, as that is normal. For example, the sliding fee here would be defaulted as disabled unless you partake on the government poverty guideline. Otherwise, this will remain disabled. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and jump over to the billing query window and do a quick overview of the billing query, and then we'll jump into actually creating a claim from the billing portal. Once you click on billing query, you're going to note that the window is actually split into the different columns. The first column here is your search column. This allows you to enter the search criteria for, this allows you to enter in the criteria for any claims you would like to find. You can enter any of the following criteria. You can enter based on patient data, guarantor data, payer/insurance data, claim data, procedure code data, submission data, provider, or location. And under each one of these, you have different criteria that you can enter to find that existing claim. To the right of that, you have your results column, and that's going to show you the results based on the criteria you entered and the search you performed. Also, above that results column, you have what we call the billing query toolbar. This billing query toolbar will give you a lot of functions that you will be needing to work this window. The first icon on this billing query toolbar is a magnifying glass. This is going to allow you to perform the search based on the data you entered into the search criteria column. To the right of that, you have the eraser icon, and that allows you to clear out that search criteria, allowing you to perform a new search. To the right of that, you have the open folder icon, and by clicking the drop down, you're going to be able to open up the claim you have selected, open up that claim in the full claim view, or do an Excel export with the search results. To the right of that, you have your new options, and by clicking the drop down, this is going to allow you to create a new claim or a new patient. To the right of that, you have the index card, and that allows you to view patient options. You have setup, which will take you to the patient's demographics. History will show you the transaction history for that patient. Eligibility will allow you to run eligibility for that patient. Comments allows you to view any existing comments and alerts for that patient, also allowing you to create new ones. Reminder allows you to attach that patient to a reminder. And letters allows you to print out letters for the selected patients. To the right of that, you have the single red window icon, which is your claim options. By clicking the drop down here, you have history, which allows you to view the transaction history for the claim you currently have selected. You have copy, which allows you to copy the claim you currently have selected. Scrub allows you to run a scrub tool through the claim you currently have selected. Comments allows you to view the comments and make new comments for the claim you have selected. Reminder allows you to attach that claim to a reminder. Modify claims allows you to modify the claims you have selected. Validate claims allows you to validate claims you have selected. To the right of that, you have your submit options, which is this green arrow icon. And by clicking the drop down here, this allows you to submit claims, which allows you to prepare a batch for claims. You have submit statement, which allows you to prepare a batch for statement. And you have view submission, which allows you to view anytime the claim has been batched and the outcome. To the right of that, you have the payment options, which is this dollar bill icon. By clicking the drop down, you have payment, which allows you to document the payment for that claim you currently have selected. And you have receipt entry, which allows you to document a receipt for the patient you currently have selected. Keeping in mind that a receipt must then be applied to a claim versus a payment will reflect directly on that claim. To the right of that, you have the hammer with the wrench here, which is your display option. By clicking the drop down, you can choose to display recent year claims only. Display balance will show you the claims outstanding balance. Display zero balance will show you claims that have a zero balance. Display aging will show you the aging dates of the claim. Display procedure will show you the procedure codes, diagnosis, and modifiers for all the claims. Display rejection will show you the rejected reason if the claim had been rejected. Exact match will only show you results based on exact matches, no partials. So it has to be, in other words, the full last name, not part of the last name. Minimize search will allow you to group the search results. So if you're searching based on patient view and you only wanted to see the patient's name one time versus seeing them multiple times for different dates of services, you can select minimize search. Patient view allows you to view do a search based on patients versus claims. Set new claim view allows you to use the quick claim window versus the full claim window. Now, the billing query here is the only window we currently have in the billing portal that does allow you to utilize both claim windows, the quick claim and the full claim view. I'll show you an example of each one of those. To the right of that, you do have your max rows here, which is minus set of 500, and this is how many results are going to be displayed prior to the remainder being hidden. This just allows you to optimize the search results. So if you do a search in this case that will exceeded the 500, let's say 501, only the first 500 will be displayed. That one claim would not be displayed here. Now in this case, we're going to go ahead and jump into how to create a claim from the billing portal. So assuming you're not utilizing the EMR and documenting a super bill that in turn creates a claim, and you actually need to create a claim from the billing portal, you're going to jump into the billing query window, which we're currently on. In the billing query window, we're going to go ahead and go to the billing query toolbar, click the white sheet of paper with the green plus sign drop down for your new options. And then I'm going to go ahead and select claim. Now, we do always suggest that you select claim. Even if you do think the patient does not exist in the system, always select claim to confirm that. Once you select claim, you can then search for the patient, and you can search by putting in the patient's last name or first name, does not matter the order. As you type this in, the system is going to do a search automatically and bring up the patients based on the criteria it matches. As you continue to type, it will narrow down that search further and further for you. In this case, the patient I'm going to be working on is this patient that's here, or Kimberly Poland here. Once I double click on that patient, it's then going to open up the new claim window for me. Now, in this case, I have mine set to the full claim window. Let me go back and change that just to show you what that quick claim window will look like. And again, if you're not sure how to turn that on or off, you're going to go to the billing query toolbar, click the hammer with the wrench drop down, and check set new claim view to use the quick claim window. So now when I do the same search to create a claim for that patient, and I double click on that patient's claim, or name, excuse me, it's going to actually open up the quick claim window for me. The difference between the quick claim window and the full claim window is the layout, and also that the quick claim window opens up within the billing query versus the full claim window opens up as its own window. On the quick claim window here, you will note that it's going to be broken down into sections. You have your alerts, status, responsible party and insurance, service information, dates, procedures, and messages. Now, under each one of these sections, you will be able to do documentation and view information about your claim. For example, my alerts. The alerts here are actually telling me no claim monitor alerts because this claim has not yet been saved. Once it is saved, it's going to show me if there is any issues that the system thinks there is with this claim. And it's going to put a red alert there for me to let me know that there is an issue. Below that, the status will show me the status of the claim. It also shows me the sub-status, which is a biller defined field. So if you want to later on search for specific claims, you can based on sub-status. It also shows me the level, whether it's going out to the primary, secondary, or tertiary. It also shows me the billing, which lets me know if it's going out electronically or on paper. Also shows me the type, which lets me know if it's a medical or any other type of claim. And it also shows me the owner, which lets me know who created this claim. Below that, you have the responsible party and insurance, which allows you to view the responsible party for that patient and their primary, secondary, and tertiary insurance. Now, if this patient did have an authorization, I can click on the word authorizations below that responsible party and insurance and document that authorization for this patient. Below that, you have the service information, which allows you to enter in the service location and also the rendering provider. And on the rendering provider field here, you're going to actually want to start typing in the provider's name, and it's going to go ahead and bring up that provider for you. You'll then be able to click on that provider. It's going to add them into the rendering provider field for you. You also have a referring provider date, an alternate provider. And if you needed to document additional providers, you can document it under the sub-service information here by expanding that. Below that, you have the dates section here, and that's going to allow you to document an admission date, a discharge date, or a on-set date. Also, if you click the word more, this is going to give you the additional date fields you can document under. Below that, you have the procedure section, which allows you to document the date of service, the actual procedure code, place of service, the units, the charge, the modifiers if applicable, and the diagnosis code. And lastly, you have the messages section, which lets you know if there's any issues with the claim. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and jot down my claim here. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put in some generic codes here, and then I'm going to go ahead and click save. Once I do that, it's going to go ahead and create my claim for me. Okay, and if there was any issues, I could scroll down to the messages section and take a look at my claim and patient validation. Okay, so my patient validation has passed. However, my claim validation states that I have an invalid procedure code. Okay, you also know that the procedure code is outlined in red to let you know that there is an issue with it. In this case, I did this on purpose just to show you what that would look like. The code should actually be 99213, not 92213. So once I update that code and I click save, I'm going to go ahead and update that there and actually take away that red outline and pass the validations at the bottom. Now you will also note that on the charge here now, it does show up this outline in yellow. And the reason for it is because the charge is different than the default. So because I did overwrite a procedure code that had already a zero charge amount listed on it, it kept that charge because I overrid that code instead of removing it and adding a new code. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and manually add in my charge. And then I'm going to click save to save the changes. Now, let's say if I did want to keep the charge at zero, for whatever the reason may be, instead of me having to update that charge, I can just leave it blank, and the system will also accept that as well. Right, so that's pretty much how you would create a claim. Now, if you needed to document additional data on your claim, you would want to turn to the claim toolbar here. The first icon on that toolbar is your open folder. By clicking on that open folder, you're going to be able to open up the claim in the full claim view. You can also go into claim additional to document additional information on your claim, such as institutional claim information if you needed to document that, an accident-related cause, or any additional data you needed to document on your claim. On here, you will also have the claim authorization, which again, you can access as well from that responsible party and insurance section. You do also have the claim comments, which allows you to view any existing comments and document new comments for this claim. And you have the new claim option here, which allows you to create a new claim for this patient. To the right of that, you have the save. This will allow you to save the claim that you're currently on, so any changes you made here. To the right of that, you have the save and next, and that would be if you had did a search and you had multiple claims, and you started working from the top and working your way down, you could just hit save and next, and that will automatically take you to the next claim on your results. You then have history, which allows you to view the transaction history for this claim, all payments and adjustments. Also, if you click the drop down here, you have this claim auditing, which allows you to do an audit on the claim to see anybody that has viewed it and edited this claim. To the right of that, you have your payment options, which allows you to document a payment, a receipt, or run the receipt analysis, which is a report to show the payments that were made by the patient. To the right of that, you have the 837 blue check mark, which allows you to run the validation on your claim here. This validation will automatically occur once you do batch your claims. So if you do not want to run it on each individual claim, once you batch them, that validation will automatically occur. To the right of that, you have the index card, which gives you a set of patient options. So it allows you to go into the setup for the patient's demographics. Insurance would be the insurance tab of the patient's demographics. Guarantor would be the responsible party tab of the insurance of the patient's demographics, Comments will allow you to view any existing comments and alerts for that patient, also allowing you to create new ones. History will show you the transaction history for that patient, all charges, payments, and adjustments. Appointments will show you the appointments for that patient, future, past, and present. Patient eligibility will allow you to run eligibility for that patient. Communications will attach that patient to a communication. Reminder will allow you to attach that claim to a reminder. Orders will allow you to see any orders for that patient. Progress notes will allow you to see the actual note for the patient. And accident-related cause allows you to document and select an accident-related cause. All right, so at this point, we concluded the documentation of a claim. We're now going to jump over to the processing and submission part of today's webinar. So once you document all your claims, whether you're documenting it here from the billing portal by coming to the billing query, or you're documenting it from the Superbill on the EMR, either way, when you go to batch the claims, you're going to want to come into the billing query window, which I'm currently already on, and search for those claims utilizing the claim status. Now, the reason why we utilize the claim status is because it is the common denominator between your claims, meaning all claims that are ready to go to the primary insurance would have the same claim status. All claims that are ready to have a statement printed would have the exact same claim status. On here, you're going to want to go ahead and click the status drop-down under the claim section. And there's three statuses you're going to be selecting when processing claims to the primary insurance. The first status is you're ready to send primary electronic. The second status you're going to select is you're ready to send primary paper, which is 3 down from the first one. And the third status you're going to select is one of the final statuses on this drop-down. So you're going to scroll all the way down and select your closed electronic Superbill. Once you select all three statuses, you're ready to perform the search by clicking the magnifying glass on the billing query toolbar. Now, in this case, I am in a training environment, and I actually do want to narrow down my search results just so it can expedite here for today's training. So I'm actually going to put in a date, the service range here to narrow down my search criteria. I'm actually going to put it from the 1st of January to today as the date range to narrow down that search criteria. Once I hit my magnifying glass, it then shows me all the claims that meets the three statuses that I entered that have a date of service from the 1st to today. On here, I'll be able to review the claims, make sure I'm okay with the claims, You will note that some claims are checked while some claims are unchecked. By default, the system deems unprocessable and therefore unchecking the claims that either have a zero balance or credit, that have a missing guarantor, or a missing primary insurance. Those claims are deemed unprocessable and by default unchecked. To work on any of these claims, to make necessary corrections, or to review them, you can actually double click on the claim, and that's going to go ahead and open up the claim window for you. At this point, you can then make any necessary modifications to your claims. Once you reviewed all your claims and you're ready to batch them, you would want to make sure that the claims are checked, the ones that you do want to go out. And to batch these claims, you want to go ahead and go to the billing query toolbar, the second toolbar in this case now because I minimized the search criteria column. You want to go ahead and click the green arrow drop down on the second toolbar and select Submit Claims. Once you select that, you're going to get this Prepare Batch window. It's going to go ahead and show you preparing a batch for payer. It's going to give you a breakdown for 837 professional, 837 institutional, and paper. 837 professional being your 1500 electronic claims. 837 institutional would be your UB04 electronic claims. And the paper would be all your paper claims. This is then broken down into primary, secondary, and tertiary. In this case, I only did a search that included primary claims. So I'm showing 7 primary claims under 837 professional, which basically means they're going to go out electronic. The other thing you would want to take note here is your claim information at the bottom. On here, it's going to show you the total number of claims you have selected. Make sure that matches with the number you actually have checked. Okay, and also if you were to be doing a statement batch, it would then flag it on here which count of claims are actually in statement mode, meaning which claims are ready to be printed out a statement for. If you're okay with the batch that it's being displayed here that it's going to create, you want to go ahead and click OK on the right lower corner. Once you do so, you're going to get a confirmation pop-up, which lets you know that the batch has been created. Also, in this case, I am in a training environment and not connected to a clearinghouse, so I got this warning in blue here just letting me know that I am not currently connected to a clearinghouse. Lastly, on this pop-up, you will see at the bottom there it tells you the submission may be viewed on the claim submission window. This is where we're going to go into next to process those batches. So we're going to go ahead and click OK on here. And now we're going to jump over to claim submission on the left-hand side, your navigation pane. And in the claim submission window, we're going to be able to view all our pending batches. So any batches that have been created but have not been processed or sent out. On here, you're going to be able to view the submission ID number, the prepared date, the batch type, the billing type, the created by, total number of claims, the billing MD failed, and the billing MD passed. Billing MD failed and billing MD passed is essentially the final validation our system does on your claims. If the claim does fail our internal validation, and if you proceed to process in this batch, these claims will not make it out of the system and simply go into a rejected status. If you do choose to correct the claims prior to sending out the batch, all you have to do is double click on that batch. That opens up the submission detail. And in the submission detail window, you would want to go ahead and double click on the claims that are up top with the pass checkbox unchecked. These are the claims that essentially failed our internal validation. Once you double click on that claim, it's going to go ahead and open up the claim in the full claim window. Okay, keep in mind that this will look different than the window we just saw in the billing query. However, they do have the exact same information. So all the information we saw in the quick claim window, you will be able to see it on this full claim window as well. Anytime you have a claim that fails our validation, you always want to take a look at your patient and claim validation on the bottom left corner of your screen. Okay, in this case, it's showing me that this claim actually failed the validation due to a primary insurance authorization exists for this claim. Also, if I look at my insurance number 1 here field up top on the middle of my claim, I will also note that instead of a green check mark next to that insurance number 1, I have this yield sign, this yellow triangle, which basically lets me know that there's an issue there. I can then click on that yield sign, and by clicking on that yield sign, it's gonna open up this insurance um, referral and authorization window. This is gonna then allow me to document a referral number or a prior authorization number. If the referral or prior authorization has already been documented on the patient, you can then just click on the word authorizations. This is then going to open up the referral and authorization window for this patient. And on here, you can go to the Refer To tab, select the authorization that's applicable, and click Assign. Again, this is in the case scenario where that authorization has already been documented for the patient, or if the authorization you have applies to more than one data service. You can then document the authorization on this authorization tracking for the patient, which would essentially allow you to keep track of all the authorizations. Once you select the correct authorization, you want to go ahead and click Assign. It's going to go ahead and add in that authorization or referral number, depending what it is. And then you can go ahead and click Apply on your claim, and you'll now see that the claim passes validation because the referral and authorization has been assigned. All right, so this claim has been corrected. We're going to go ahead and click OK on it here. And now we're going to open up the next claim, and you're going to pretty much repeat the exact same steps. You're going to review the reason why the claim got rejected on the left lower corner. And then based off of that, you're going to go ahead and make the necessary corrections. Now, in this case, this is the same patient, just a different data service. So I'm going to go ahead and select that authorization. I'm going to click Assign, Apply just to confirm. You'll see it passes validation, and then I can OK it. Then I'm going to do the same exact thing to my third claim here. Again, we're going to open up the claim window, take a look at our patient and claim validation. In this case, same thing, authorization. So I'm going to click the word authorization, go to my Refer To tab, select that authorization, and click Assign. And then apply it to make sure it passes validation, and it does. And now these three claims have been corrected. Now, once the claims are corrected, it does not automatically just mark it as passed. The claim will still show as failed. In order for it to show up as passed, what you would want to do is click Process on the right lower corner. You would want to select the Reprocess Submission, which is going to revalidate your batch, and click OK. You also note that there is two other options here. You do have a Process Submission, which would send out that batch, and a Remove Submission, which removes the batch altogether. In this case, because I did have claims that failed and I corrected those claims, I want to go ahead and reprocess to make sure they now pass validation. I'm going to go ahead and click OK on that. I get a confirmation pop-up. I'm going to click OK on that as well. And on now, you can see that I have 7 out of 7 passed here. So this is a clean batch, and I'm ready to submit that batch. To do so, you can double click on it again. It's going to open up the submission detail. Then you would click Process, leave Process Submission selected, and click OK, and that will send out your batch. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do so now. You're going to go ahead and get a confirmation pop-up. I can click OK on that as well. And then in this case, because I am not connected to the clearinghouse, it gave me this EDI extract for me to extract the 837 file. In your case, once you hit that process and OK, that sends out the batch, and it is now at the clearinghouse end, which will then in turn forward it onto the insurance company. That concludes the processing and submission part of today's training. The final item that I wanted to show you in today's webinar is how you can see what has already been submitted. Once you are in the claim submission window, which I currently am on, and again, the claim submission is found on the left-hand side, the inquiry. Once you get to your claim submission window, you would want to go to the history of the claim submission window. To do so, you want to go ahead and click the clock with the counterclock green arrow on the billing toolbar. So the first toolbar up top, that clock with the counterclock green arrow, you want to go ahead and click on that. Once you do so, it's going to take you to the history of the claim submission window. And if you're not sure if you're there or not, if you look on the right upper corner, it will tell you history. On the history of the claim submission window, you're then going to fill in a date range here to search for batches that were processed within that date range. In this case, I'm looking for batches that were processed today, so I'm going to put today's date range in there. And then I'm going to click the binocular icon to run that search. This is then going to show me every single batch that has been processed within the specified date range. It's going to show me the submission ID number, the actual prepared date, the process date, the batch type, the billing type, the created by, the total number of claims, the billing MD failed, the billing MD passed, the EDI failed, and the EDI passed, which is essentially the response back from the clearinghouse. It is typical that if you send out a batch within the first 24 to 48 hours, the EDI failed and EDI passed will stay NA. And the reason being is we have not heard yet back from the clearinghouse. Once we do hear back, we then fill in the numbers there showing you the failed and passed. If you do have any claims that failed at the clearinghouse level, those claims will come back into your database with a status of rejected. So you would actually be able to go to the billing query and search for your status of rejected and bring up those claims, make the necessary corrections, and resubmit those claims. Thank you for joining and have a good rest of your day.